All right, we are live. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the February 9th business meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees. It's 7:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, once again, welcome to the Solomon Boardroom, and those of you watching at home, we have the full Board of Trustees this evening. We can conduct business as published. With that, I will ask for additions or deletions to tonight's agenda. Mr. Budney.
Mr. Supervisor, thank you. I would like. You would? Is that really? We're not on? Oh, there we go. No complaint. I would like to make an addition to action item number 4, which is appointments to the Municipal Ordinance Violation Bureau. I have another application had come in, so I'll be adding another name to that.
Support.
Okay, moved by Trustee Budney, seconded by Trustee Smith to add another name to the Violations Bureau, which would be action item 4 tonight. It would just be an addendum to the action item, not a separate action item.
Correct.
Any discussion among the board on this? Those in favor of allowing Mr. Budney to add a name to the Violations Bureau, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. At this time, I'd like to request that the Board of Trustees enter closed session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation with the township attorney at the conclusion of at the end of this meeting before we adjourn.
Support.
Okay, moved by Supervisor, seconded by Trustee Budney to enter into closed session at the as we complete business at this meeting. Discussion among the board? Okay, with none offered, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. We will anticipate a closed session at the end of the evening. Any other additions, deletions to the agenda? With none offered, those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. The agenda stands amended. At this point, we have no hearings. President, I'll open up to public comment, limited to the agenda, the action items of tonight's meeting. All right. I see no hands going up. With none offered, we'll move right into the consent agenda. Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 14-120, which includes the minutes of the January 22nd, 2015 regular meeting, the check register dated January 27th, 2015, and the check register dated February 6th, 2015.
Support.
Okay, moved by Treasurer Van Oss, seconded by Clerk Ranka. Discussion among the board on the consent agenda.
Ted, you said January 22nd. You meant 26th.
27th?
26th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Minutes for
the 26th. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, with that clarification, other discussion among the board, questions or comments? All right, with none offered, those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That stands approved. Moving to action items. Chief, Trustee Malvesto.
I'm going to ask you to excuse me. I'm going to... No.
Tom, I've got a
printed copy. I appreciate that because this is just going to give me the fits.
Go ahead, read with that.
All right. Supervisor, pardon? Thank you again. Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, now, one more button, Tom.
I pressed it. Somebody's playing games with me. Yeah. Okay. The motion is, the subject is resolution mutual aid box alarm system. Chief Murdoch's going to explain.
Okay, we have a motion from Trustee Malvesto for the Grosse Ile Township to enter the mutual aid box alarm system, and I will second that motion. And it's up, and then we got to hand it over to Chief because it's pretty involved.
The Downriver Chiefs have gotten together on trying to expand on their ability to acquire resources. And the Mavis system is one way in which it can be done. Mavis system's been in play for quite a long time. I think we'll get more into that as unless you want me to explain both action items 1 and 2 at the same time, because they go hand in hand. But basically what this does, this enhances our Downriver Mutual Aid Agreement, and all the Downriver communities are coming on board with this agreement through all their city councils and townships. What it allows us to do is to get into calling for resources during large-scale events. Natural disasters, tornado goes through here, chemical, Jones Chemical on the other side of the island explodes, terrorism, whatever it might be, and I have a huge event on the north end of the island, and I need 150 rescues, things of that nature, things in large scale. And it also allows me to go start at the emergency management level, which is the state of Michigan, and then move from them in a request into the federal level if I need any type of major resources, like the EPA and that kind of stuff. As you can see on the map, the MAVIS system is starting to grow in Michigan. It is in Wisconsin, Illinois, I think, Ohio. It is a system, it's out Midwest, but it is a system that is growing because of limited resources with the fire service throughout the state. With the fire service starting to dial down all its resources, this gives us the ability to tap resources that are out there. One thing it does do, it works the same way as the Downriver Mutual Aid. If I don't have the resources to send, I don't send them. If I do have the resources to send, I send them. The first question will be, well, you have a unique resource, you have the water rescue team. Can't send them because I have nothing to back up my resource if I did send them to Ann Arbor to do something in Ann Arbor in some type of rescue or recovery. The only things that possibly I could send would be manpower, possibly a fire truck and or an ambulance, because I have that as a backup. I can't leave my own community shorthanded, and that's written into this agreement. That's in the second part of the 2 action items. The second part, of course, a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo. You almost anymore have to take a lawyer with you when you go do anything because it gets very complicated. But basically, in a nutshell, it says, I can go get resources if they're available, and vice versa. It's that simple. For us would be confined space, heavy high-angle rescue, things of that nature that we're not involved in, and neither is the Downriver. The Downriver used to be in tech rescue and in confined space. They're not anymore because they can't get the manpower to take care of it. The resources in the Downriver are dwindling and dwindling quickly. Not so much on our end. We're still functioning the same way we always have, but a lot of the departments downriver, our manpower's going down, equipment's going down, and they're having a lot of problems. So that's another reason for it a little bit, so just in case there's a major event. But they were asking for a resolution first to have the board agree as a whole before the supervisor's given the okay to sign the agreement. In a nutshell, I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Is there any cost to us?
No.
There's got to be the first question. Does it cost us anything to?
It costs us. In other words, it's just like Downriver Mutual Aid. If I send a truck and equipment, that's our cost, our liability, our insurance.
Yeah. But there's no membership fee or anything like that?
No, and there is some cost recovery. I mean, if there's some third-party recovery that can be obtained, yeah, we go after it. You know, if a chemical plant goes up like Adafina did, there's that recovery, and we can go after it. But if we're not going to go after another community for recovery. That'll be on our shoulders.
Is there any limitation on the hours before? I saw something in there.
Yeah, the first 8 hours are for the most part free. Anything after that is, particularly if it's third party involved, yeah, billing can start taking place.
Okay.
You said, and maybe I'm getting ahead of the argument here, in an emergency you could reach into other states to the federal level. Normally, we go through the governor first, and the governor has to request aid, unless the president comes in and declares martial law. But the governor has to request aid outside the state. Does this assume we have his support, or do we just bypass? I'm curious.
Yeah, I think the governor is on board with this style of management due to the fact that he's big on combining resources, and this is a good thing for us because this helps Ann. with, we are sharing resources with other communities. But yeah, I have to, if I need somebody from Ohio, say Toledo, I have to go through the emergency management system to get that to happen. And the governor's got to make that happen for us. So, yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. And any major disaster that is on any level where we're bringing in resources, we're going to emergency management anyways. We're going to the county, we're going to the state. Just like we did when the bridges were down and we had the plan already in place with the reservists to bring in equipment and planes if we had a major problem out here with both bridges were down. So it works in similar way. So.
Is there anything still, do we get any benefit of sharing with other?
Governor Snyder has just basically taken that off the table,
Okay.
so now it's just a transfer.
Okay, so,
This is one question Ann asks me every year. She's, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing with other communities to help? I guess it's with your revenue sharing or something
Right.
along that lines,
but that's
it's a big
gone.
help.
Okay.
So my expectations, are we going to be called out anytime soon? No, because the Downriver Agreement's still in place. So,
Hopefully you're never called out.
yeah.
Do we have anything in place with our volunteer fire department?
I'm sorry?
Do we have anything in place for compensation for our volunteer fire department, or do they just go because they go?
Yeah, under most circumstances, the guys have always just gone. In fact, they're usually clamoring at the door, wanting to get on the truck and go. Have we compensated in the past if they're gone for quite a while? Yeah, the last major event that I was on, which was back in the early 80s, that's when the Clark Oil went up, the tank farm went up out in Taylor, and we were out there for 3 days. I never came home for 3 days. Was there compensation at that time? No. So it's kind of it all goes with the territory.
Because this really becomes a no-brainer, because we have a volunteer department, so you would be the only one, you and Russ would be the only one compensated under normal compensation.
Absolutely.
So I don't see
Would
other than equipment. I mean, we put
Correct.
equipment at risk, obviously.
Correct, and there is a slight problem going on within the fire service. It's not talked about a lot, but career departments don't necessarily call volunteer systems in first. They start with the career departments and work their way till there's no manpower, because their thought process is the union thought process is let's get our brothers and sisters in first before we bring in the volunteer system. So we'll probably be at the end of the line, and at that point, it pretty much will probably be over with by the time we get. You got to remember, we're on the far east side of the state. So
The only other question I would have, does our insurance company have any issues with us servicing outside of our own community?
They're aware of the mutual aid.
Yeah.
As far as-
But, I mean,
What
are
about
we
this?
covered?
we'll have to check on that. I never thought to look into that. I know we have coverage, workman's comp wise and all that, leaving the island, no different than operating. We're still operating under the auspice of Groseal Township.
Yeah, but you're going to put a $1 million truck out there. I'm just curious if you put a $1 million truck down in Monroe for a catastrophe, and
yeah,
he-
or
and it gets
Toledo or
burned up,
something.
are we
Yeah.
covered for that?
And now, and also remember too, once we sign, if we do sign the agreement and we do enter into the Mavis agreement, and a year from now or 2 years from now, we find that this agreement's not working for us, we can bow out of this agreement. So we're not tied into a permanent situation here.
Sure,
We can
sure.
get out of it.
At
It
any
doesn't work.
time?
I'm sorry?
At any time?
At any time. That's the way I read the agreement, so.
Okay, this is the preliminary resolution, and then the second motion will be the nuts and bolts of the Mavis system and what we're agreeing to. But this is just saying that Groseal Township is willing to enter into it. And then the second one is we accept these terms and conditions.
And I'll monitor it, I mean, if I find myself and our men of Groseal taken advantage of, for less than a better term, I will shut it down. I will shut it down, so.
With that, I will read the resolution. Let's see if I get on the right page. I will read this, I will not, the second resolution is 12 pages. Just not quite that talented, but this is the one that's going to drive the beginning of the fight.
Brian, if I may, before you start that, whether it's the resolution or the next action item, possibly put in there, subject to checking out the insurance, add that to one of them.
That's fine.
Okay, then this would, if our insurance proves, or we need to renegotiate our insurance, do we nullify this? Do we?
I'll bring it back.
Okay.
I'll bring it back.
We've never had an issue with Downriver Mutual Aid. It's never come up, so, but anyway,
Yeah.
it's just due diligence to review that.
Yep.
That'd be the
Number
second.
2.
Okay, right. All right, so that, we'll add that then to action item number 2. But for now, I will read the resolution. Resolution for approval of the Grosse Ile Fire Department to participate in the Downriver Mutual Aid Box Alarm System Division, and we'll assign a resolution number to it. Whereas Grosse Ile Township has the power, privilege, and authority to maintain and operate a fire department providing fire protection, fire suppression, emergency medical services, technical rescue, hazardous incident response, and other emergency response services, fire services. And whereas fire services can further be improved by cooperation between political subdivisions during times of public emergency, conflagration, or disaster incidents. And whereas the Michigan Constitution of 1963, Article 7, Paragraph 28, and the Urban Cooperation Act of 1967, Act Number 7 of the Public Acts of 1967, currently Michigan compiled laws 124.501 et sequitur, referred to as the Act, permit a political subdivision to exercise jointly with any other political subdivision at any power, privilege, or authority which such political subdivisions share in common and which might each exercise separately. And whereas Grosse Ile Township desires to enter into an interlocal agreement pursuant to the Act to further improve fire services, and whereas the Mutual Aid Box Alarm System, MABES, is a mechanism that may be used for deploying personnel and equipment in a multi-jurisdictional or multi-agency emergency mutual aid response, and whereas as a result of entering into an interlocal agreement to further improve fire services, the parties are creating the Downriver MABES Division, and whereas the Township Supervisor has the authority to execute this agreement pursuant to resolution of its governing body, and whereas Grosse Ile Township desires to commit personnel and equipment to another party if deemed reasonable upon the request of another party, and now, therefore, be it resolved, Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees finds it in the best interest of its citizens from a safety and fiscal standpoint to enter into the interlocal agreement creating the Downriver MABES decision. That is our resolution on the table. And with this, any further comments, questions? Clerk's recommending a roll call vote. We will enter a roll call vote. I'll begin with Trustee Smith.
Aye.
Trustee Posiask.
Aye.
Trustee Malvesto.
Aye.
Trustee Budney.
Aye.
Mr. Treasurer.
Aye.
Mr. Clerk.
Aye.
Supervisor, aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you very much. On to action item number 2.
It's cooperating.
Oh, okay, he's got it under control?
Yeah, it has me under control. Mr. Supervisor, the subject is Michigan Mutual Aid Box Alarm System Agreement. The proposed motion is to adopt the Michigan Mutual Aid Box Alarm System, MABAS agreement, dated February 9th, 2015. Subject to adoption by the Downriver Community Conference and the adoption of the Downriver Mutual Aid Chiefs, and furthermore to authorize the Township Supervisor to execute said agreement.
All right, Chief, take it away. Oh, I'm sorry, you need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee
I
Buddy.
was going to say, before you second, you might want to add the pending.
Add the insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll add that as a clause. So after,
Pending, what it is.
we're subject to, how do we want to word this?
Insurance review?
Review of township insurance, and then after that, adoption by the Downriver Community Conference, et cetera. Does that fit in there, Mrs. Gray? Reasonably well?
All right, so you want,
To adopt the Michigan Mutual Aid Box Alarm System, MABES agreement dated February 9th, 2015, subject to insurance, township insurance review, adoption by the Downriver Community Conference, et cetera.
Got it?
Okay, so that is the motion,
Support.
seconded by Trustee Budney. Now, take it away, Chief.
I think in the agreement itself, I'm going to read right from the agreement, the purpose, and I think it sums it up in a nutshell. It is recognized and acknowledged that in certain situations, such as natural disasters and man-made catastrophes, no political subdivision possesses all necessary resources to cope with every possible emergency disaster or serious threat to public safety. In effect, efficient response can be best achieved by leveraging collective resources from other political subdivisions. Further, it is acknowledged that coordination of mutual aid through the mutual aid box alarm system is most desirable for the effective and efficient provision of mutual aid. I think that kind of sums it up in a nutshell. And that's what we're shooting for. If we're looking for resources and we're running short, we know we can, other than downriver mutual aid, we can extend past our borders to look for that help.
Okay, any other further, I mean, we kind of know where we stand on this issue as an extension of the first one. Other questions or comments for the chief? Mr. Posiask? Nope, okay. All right, with that, again, this was presented as a resolution, but it's 12 pages, and you've pretty much covered it. I will be asking for another roll call vote, as this is signed by resolution. So let me start at the other end, and I'll start with Trustee Posiask.
Aye.
Trustee Malvesto.
Aye.
Trustee Smith.
Aye.
Trustee Budney.
Aye.
Mr. Treasurer.
Aye.
Clerk Ranka.
Aye.
And Supervisor, aye. Again, motion carries.
Thanks.
And-
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chief. All right, action item number 3. Again, Mr. Malvesto.
We'll just wait for our rec manager to take the floor. Make sure I got it. All right, Mr. Supervisor, the proposed motion is to authorize the Recreation Director and the Township Manager to seek requests for proposals from qualified individuals or firms desiring to lease the restaurant facility located at 25555 West River Road, Water's Edge.
Okay, move
Support.
Support.
Who is first? Trustee Smith. All right, moved by Trustee Malvesto, seconded by Trustee Smith. Take it away. I guess you going to develop it, or do you want Miss Boyd?
I'll allow. Brandy, go ahead. I apologize. I didn't mean
Boyd.
it like that, yeah.
Well, it's under, Mr. Ream said during negotiations with the current restaurateurs, that when the lease came available at the end of this year, that it was the will of the board to go out for RFPs for other options or different opportunities just to see what was available, because at the last time an RFP didn't go out, the lease was renewed. So it's been quite a few years before since an RFP has went out.
Okay, RFP is request for proposal, and part of our due diligence in trying to get as much fiscal solvency, revenue to work all our assets as efficiently as possible. Every so often we review what we're doing. Maybe there's a better tenant, maybe there isn't. So, it's out there. The request goes out, we publish it through the normal channels and see what comes in, and board will be making decision. Well, we'll get a recommendation from your department, and the board will make a decision after that. Questions, comments from the board? This is the first step, and again, part of our.
I just
Mr.
have a
Treasurer.
question. Was this brought forward to the rec commission? Has the rec commission reviewed this?
No, not yet. They will at the next meeting.
Other questions, comments?
I'd just like to,
Mr. Buddy.
applaud you for remembering to do this. I remember when we went through the last one, we said we wanted this, and I'm glad somebody followed up.
Other questions, comments for Ms. Boyd? All right, with none offered, those in favor of authorizing the Recreation Director and Township Manager to seek requests for proposals from qualified individuals or firms desiring to lease the restaurant facility at 25555 West River Road. Tom did better. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None offered. Action item, okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Boyd, get to work. All right, moving on to action item number 4, Mr. Budney.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is a motion to approve the following appointments to the Municipal Ordinance Violation Bureau. Mr. James Budney, Township Trustee, from February 9th, 2015 to November 20th, 2016. Mr. Peter Klunder, February 9th, 2015 to March 31st, 2017. Mr. James Nelson, from February 9th, 2015 to March 31st, 2018. Mrs. Suzanne Sasick, from February 9th, 2015 to March 31st, 2018. And Mrs. Martha Herringshaw, from February 9th, 2015 to March 31st, 2017.
Support.
Okay, moved by trustee Budney, having read the appointments, and seconded by trustee Smith. I know every one of the individuals. I think they'll make great additions to the Bureau. They're just good citizens,
Yep.
good neighbors.
I was just going to say that this is just further adding on to our ordinance enforcement. This is the Violations Bureau, where what they would hear is if a ticket was issued, they would hear either an extension of time on that ticket or the dollar value of that ticket. They would not hear the violation itself. That you have to go to court for.
Okay, other questions? Any questions, comments for trustee Budney? None offered. Those in favor of approving the appointments of Mr. Budney, Mr. Klunder, Mr. Nelson, Ms. Sasick, and Mrs. Herringshaw to the Violations Bureau for the terms delineated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. Congratulations, Mr. Budney. Making progress on this. That'll complete our action items for tonight. We'll move on to the clerk's report.
Mr. Supervisor. Mr. Supervisor.
Hello, Mr.
Hello? All right.
It's an imperfect science.
I think as close as we're going to get. So there's a police commission meeting tomorrow night, our monthly meeting. The planning commission next scheduled is Monday, the first Monday in March, and there's an election coming up in May. So we are still looking for election inspectors for the May election. If you'd like to be an inspector, please stop by the office, see the staff, check us out on the Groseville Township website. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. January investment information is not completed yet. As soon as it is, it'll be up on my website. You can go there and find all the details of it, or I'll have it at our next meeting. The 2014 winter tax bills are due a week from tomorrow, February 17th. Office will be closed Monday the 16th for President's Day. February 17th postmarks will be accepted as timely. Payments can be made online and at most Groseville banks or using the drop box in front of the building during our regular office hours. Note that after that date, a 3% penalty will be added after the due date until March 1st, 2015. And that is the last day we can accept payments at the township. So if you don't get them paid by then, you'll have to go down and visit our friends in Wayne County. And if you'll be down in Greektown, you can probably have lunch. You'll be there long enough. All unpaid 2014 summer and winter tax bills will become delinquent beginning March 2nd, 2015. Further information needed regarding late or delinquent payments, give my deputy treasurer a call, Annette, at extension 232 at the township. She'll guide you through any information or questions that you have. We have an Airport Commerce Park meeting on Monday the 16th.
Tuesday the 17th.
That's right, it's a holiday. Tuesday the 17th. At that time, we'll be discussing some issues with runway improvements. Be an interesting meeting to attend, and I have nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Move on to trustee reports. Mr. Moresto.
I just want to make everybody aware that the skating rink has been open. It's being used. it's good to see people out there skating around, and it's a beautiful facility. Stop by, take a look at it, take advantage of it. The hours are posted on the at the gate. It's both open skating and hockey, so be prepared. Either have your pads and your stick, or you're going to get run over. No, I just want to thank Brandy Boyd, our rec director, our new rec director. She has really had her hands full. She's come on board quick, and I've been talking with her about the budget. She obviously has her hands full, doesn't have a lot of time to talk, but she's doing a great job. Thank you, Brandy. Looking forward to this coming summer and the activities. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malvesto. Mr. Posias.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a couple general things. Number one, we did have quite a snow event a week ago today, and I think Rosehill Township took very, very good care of the way we cleaned up after that snow. I want to just make a point of saying hats off to John Keim, hats off to the DPS in general, and Chief Porcerelli and Chief Murdoch. I saw both of you cruising the streets making sure that they were open, and that was a real statement. It said a lot to a lot of people that I know. They said, they're out there looking. They're not sitting in an office somewhere. Very good. Well-deserved thanks. Brandy, daddy-daughter dance. We had a blast, didn't we? Huh? You saw 100 very, very lovely young ladies and their daddies. Looked like everybody had a good time. That's a tradition that carries better and better every year. And you took it on, you did a little different, and you did it well. Thank you. Last week's Greenways Open Space meeting was canceled for lack of attendance. Didn't have enough folks to get there. And that was last week, Tuesday, so I think we give them a little bit of understanding. And finally, next week, on Tuesday, our Bike Path Committee meets. 7:30 here. This is an opportunity for those of you who love those bike paths to put your input in now to see what you want done and to hear what things that need to be done on the system this year. I welcome anybody who can to come down there. Thank you. End of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Posiak. Mrs. Smith.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Mr. Budney.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Tomorrow, DPS meeting, 7:30 here in the boardroom.
7 o'clock.
I'm sorry, 7 o'clock. What was I thinking? And we actually have a ZBA meeting this month, the 24th. Mr. Lemoyne gets his baptism finally. Welcome aboard. Wally's kind of stole my thunder, but I too want to thank John Keim and the DPS, Chief Porcerelli and Duncan for the fine job they did. I am a little bit dismayed to hear after all that we went through, all the snow we had, that there were people that were upset because it wasn't perfect. You have to understand that's something that we don't have to do at all. This township takes it upon himself because of the safety of the people to help you residents dig out, and it should be appreciated and not criticized, and that's my personal opinion on that. So thank you, guys. Let's see. Besides that, I did want to mention that the Michigan Water Environment Association has bestowed upon our wastewater treatment plant Health and Safety Award for small municipal wastewater treatment facilities. Congratulations, Joe Keefe, for the fine job that you guys do over there. And last of all, legal fees, O'Reilly Rancilio, $2,119.90. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Budney. Okay, it's been a busy 2 weeks, so I'll pick up and fill in a few holes here and there. And a lot of things going on. Most of this from Carol. The stuff going on. The annual Tails Bottle and Can Drive runs through February 28th. Leave your returnable bottles and cans in the dog kennel area at the animal shelter on Centennial Farm. Donations will help Tails and the animal shelter assist the homeless. Animals of Grosse Ile, a lot of success stories. They quite often made up a lost pet or a deserving pet with a new family. And we have flyers in the back of the room. The bottles, that flyer looks like this if you want more information. Next, Wayne County Day at the Detroit Institute of Arts. Actually, Carol and Miss Hinson were down there today learning more about the Inside Out project. Really looking forward to that. Works of art from the DIA will come to Grosse Ile. That will be in the summer. Carol saw some of the ones that were going to be posted in the spring Inside Out, and it was just breathtaking. So I'm really looking forward to this. But this is different. This is an opportunity for bus transportation from Grosse Ile to the DIA and back in that afternoon. And it's, Saturday, February 28th for Grosse Ile residents. Remember, we passed the millage a couple of years ago, so the admission is free. It's always free, but this is a free ride down. February 28th, leaving Township Hall at 10 a.m. Reservations are required. There's limited seating, and they can be made by calling the DIA box office at area 313-833-4005. Again, from Township Hall, leaving at 10 and back at 2:30. Again, free of charge, that's our day, so be a great way to spend a Saturday, and you don't have to drive. Let's see, a lot of papers to sort out here. The Mother-Son Night, working on to the Daddy-Daughter Dance. Mother-Son Night at Woodhaven Lanes, scheduled for Friday, February 20th from 6:30 to 8:30. Registration is required. Contact the Rec Department, 675-2364. Probably another great time and that's on the bottom half of this flyer. We're keeping Miss Boyd busy. Let's see. More on the animal shelter and Tales. Chicken and waffles with a side of the blues. Be the second annual. Last year was a blast, and they filled the pilot house. So Saturday, February 28th, 6 p.m. to midnight at the Grosse Ile Pilot House. Cost is $35 per person. Includes dinner and entertainment. I never thought chicken and waffles were a meal, but it was really good. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Howlin' Mercy, again, she packed the place. It was a great time. Let's see, there were a few troublemakers there, as I recall, last year. Advanced ticket sales only. Contact Julie Cordes, 734-552-7436. That flyer is also in the back of the room. And it looks like this. It's a good time. Other good news. Okay. Not so good news. Carrying on with the snow emergency. I've been doing this a long time. There's not much that gets under my skin, but when you call the employees of this town, essentially call them idiots, you can call me an idiot, but these people work real hard, and they're doing the best they can, and our reward for a job well done started out with this email. Please convey my thanks to the genius who sent the email telling everyone trash pickup would be delayed one day to allow for snow clearing. And it ends up with, thank the unhelpful people in the DPW office, failed to return my calls for guidance, all giant fail. Well, Lorinda and Dale and I were all in the loop on this. Waste Management told us they would not be able to make their normal pickups on Monday because of the snow. It was a snow emergency. That's what they told us. We wanted to push that out to the residents so you wouldn't be crawling through the waist-deep snow trying to get your stuff out if it wasn't going to be picked up. So this was the result of the investigation we had internally. We're not sure on the phone calls, but the Waste Management stated they would be delayed one day the rest of the week. That's what they told us. That's what we put out. Ernie, Waste Management, likes to collect as much as he can in cases like this. He ran the regular route on the regular day, and then he reruns it the next day in case people saw the message. He even sent an email on Friday advising him to drive the entire island on Saturday to make sure everyone was picked up. I don't know of anything else we could have done to help. I don't know of anything else we pushed out the information that we had by every means available. Waste Management made the extra effort and covered more than they said they would. I'm not apologizing for that, but again, if you've got a complaint if you're going to call our employees giant failures, start with me. They work too hard to be beat up. So I'm the one who can get it corrected, or your favorite trustee, but we worked real hard. from a number of avenues to make that snow emergency as transparent and invisible as possible. And I'm real proud, as we all are, I'm real proud of the job this township has done. The more I learn about how lightly we're manned for the services we provide and the number of residents we provide it to, I was pretty hot. I've calmed down a little bit. Another question that I've been answering is on smart funding. The Free Press has had the big article, and there was another article from Meg Owens from SEMCOG about how we need to fund regional transit, and the world won't continue to revolve without a bus system. Sorry. So the question was, and again, a lot of articles about those communities who decide to opt out. Last August, a millage was passed in Wayne County that raised the rapid transit smart funding from 0.59 mils to 1.0 mils. Grosse-Ile Township opted out. It would have cost, the average would have been about $123 per household per year to support this. I don't know who in this township would be riding the bus. We provide some bus service. So we opted out of that. And we received $10,184 for a community van program. 1 mil would have been $572,000 from Grosse-Ile, so a total savings of $562,000, or an average of $128 per household. So it was a fiscal decision we made. Again, communities opt out because it's what's best. We think it's what's best for our residents. And sorry if it didn't meet with everybody else's approval. Tomorrow, I'm dragging Ms. Darzniak down to Wayne County to meet with new county executive Warren Evans. You might have also read about the financial straits that Wayne County is in, very similar to the states Detroit was in. So we're going to hear his title of his presentation, From Fiscal Crisis to Fiscal Sustainability. And fortunately, Ann knows how to juggle numbers better than anybody, so we'll find out if it looks like he's going to be on the right track or not. And I'll bring back whatever I glean from that information. Some of us were at the MTA conference. This was the best one I think I've been to in terms of the information, the timely information that was pushed out. A lot of information on the new FOIA laws, personal property tax going away, how we handle that, not a big problem here. But in my case, there were more requirements for emergency management, emergency plans, how we're going to we have an excellent emergency response plan, and we have to take parts of that and dovetail it into the template that Wayne County wants. And it's going to be tedious work, but we're going to get it done, and this will facilitate all these emergency responses. And I know, as if, Chief, you got nothing else to do, you and Chief Porcerelli, but we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And township offices will be closed February 16th for President's Day. Budgeting starts immediately thereafter. So 1 day break, get your eyes back in focus, and then we get into number crunching. That concludes my report. The township manager is here. Ms. Starzek, did you have anything that Dale wanted to push out?
No.
Nope. No stone left unturned? Okay, with that, with that, I will open it up to, I'm sorry, our township attorney is here, and
thank you. Just a comment that I want to make all of you. Brian mentioned the MTA. I did attend the attorneys conference training for the first day of the MTA conference and saw some of you all there. One thing that I wanted to point out and bring to your attention is that one of the luncheon speaker for the attorney conference was the current director of the Michigan Tax Tribunal. One of the things that he has mentioned that has become a growing problem is the cost associated to the individual townships to defend essentially a tax tribunal matter. And in reality, us, like most townships, we obtain any amount, any settlement amount. The taxes actually that you're fighting over or arguing over wind up being about 1/3 actually to the township. The other portion goes to the schools. The other large portion goes to the county. The costs associated with me or our assessor involved with those tax tribunal matters is all yours, is 100% yours. The tax tribunal recognizes that. They're addressing it. Hopefully it's something, I've heard for years that something was going to be done, but they are addressing it. It's becoming a bigger problem, bigger and bigger problem, and it was something that I thought you should all be advised of, that at least the tax tribunal is aware of and looking to rectify. So if you have any individual questions on it, feel free to ask me, but otherwise it's pretty informative. Thanks.
Good. And Mr. Sardi was there, and we did get together, and it was just time well spent. Okay, with that, I will open up to public comment. You know the rules. 3 minutes, introduce yourself, and keep it clean. No takers. Well, with that, Mr. Clark.
Almost.
Oh, we already said it, what was it? Oh, we did. 2,000. 20.
$119.90.
1,000?
$2,119.90.
And who did that go to?
O'Reilly Rensselaer.
Our legal fees.
Our legal.
It wasn't for the bridge, and it wasn't.
No.
Okay.
No, just our-
Okay. All right. I got a couple things I want to read. Also, you was going to go to Lansing for the money to see if you could switch the money around on open space properties last year.
That's something that's cooking within the legislature, looking for an attorney general opinion. We're the only ones in that situation. They really, well, I can't elaborate too much on it because it's kind of in the hands of the attorney general's office. They don't know where we want to go with it.
They don't know where we want to go with it.
I don't know where we want to go with it.
Why don't we just buy the damn land and get on with it?
Your board has decided we haven't seen a parcel we're interested in.
You have not seen a parcel you're interested in?
That's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was our.
Okay, all
that was
right,
our.
well, we'll go find that out. Okay, here we go. Official cell phone caused cancer. Now, in my health club, a lot of women like to use their pocket as to putting the cell phone there. Here, okay? And I talk to them and say, you know, it's got radiation in it. That's my cell phone. I said, okay, fine. Anyway, and men wear in their pocket. Hamburgers minimum wage. For the fast food employees striking $15 an hour, let's do some math. At $15, Johnny Flyboy working 40 hours a week will make $30,000. E1 private in the military will make $18,000. E5 sergeant will make $35,000. So you're telling me, Sally Fiber, that you deserve much as those kids getting shot at, deploying the months in hostile environment and putting their collective edges on the line, protecting every day. Here's the real deal, sweetheart. Baconator. You're working in a job designed for a kid in high school who is actually supposed to be learning how to work and earn a living for gas, movies, and hanging out with his high school buddies. And if this is chosen your life position, you have failed. You don't want minimum wage, you want minimum skills. Let's see. Package food sales have dropped. We're talking about the donuts and stuff, 24%, which was nice. Here we go. We got this other one. Okay, when you get old, you're going to move into with my kids, hog the computer, pay no bills, eat the food, trash the house, and when asked to clean the pitch in the fit, and it's killing me. All right, and I can't read that one.
Don't expect this to be captured too accurately in the minutes.
Yeah, right. Okay, no problem. Everyday freedom is not free. Your military is paid for it. Those who voted for him have sold the country down the river. My, that must be proud of themselves. Okay, got one more and then I'm done, I hope. Oh, in order to insure the uninsured, we must first uninsured to the insured. Next, we require the newly uninsured is to be reinsured. To reinsure the newly uninsured, they are required to pay extra charges to be reinsured. Extra charges are required for those original insured who will become uninsured and then become reinsured. You can pay enough extra so that the original uninsured can be insured, which will be free of charge to them. Okay,
What'd you say?
what'd I say?
That was the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, reduced from, what, 2,600 pages to one reasonably enunciated paragraph. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Other comments from the public present? With none offered, at this time, I'm going to ask we adjourn from the public meeting and retire to closed session. Second. All right, my motion, and who second? Trustee Malvesto. Those in favor of retiring to closed session, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We will retire to closed session in the second floor conference room.